Okay, in the last video, we have seen first come first serve scheduling algorithm and shortest job first scheduling algorithm. Now in this video, we will see preemptive SJF or SRT scheduling and priority scheduling. Here we are going to see both the examples, preemptive and non-preemptive type. In preemptive SJF, okay, preemptive SJF is also known as shortest remaining time algorithm. Okay, now you know what is preemptive and non-preemptive type. In non-preemptive type, we have in the last video we said that once the CPU is scheduled, CPU is assigned to one process, the process will complete the entire task and then only CPU can be allotted to some other process. But in preemptive, depending upon the shortest time remaining, we can assign the CPU to some other process without completing the previous process. So now we'll see one example for preemptive SJF or shortest remaining time. Here you can see there are four processes given, P1, P2, P3 and P4. The corresponding arrival time and the burst time in millisecond is also given. Okay, so first step is we have to plot a Gantt chart. In Gantt chart, which process will schedule first? Now you can compare who arrives first. P1 has arrived at time t equal to 0. So we will start the Gantt chart with P1. Okay. Now P1 is scheduled. At time t equal to 1, what will happen? Time t equal to 1, another process will enter, that is P2. Now we have to compare the burst time. P2 requires how many milliseconds? 4. And P1, see here, it is scheduled for 1 millisecond and how much is total? 8. So 8 minus 1 will be 7. So 7 is more than 4. So 4 has a shortest running time. So P2 is scheduled. See now here, the P2 is scheduled and P1 has to wait. So P2 is scheduled till what? Now you can see that at time t equal to 2 milliseconds, P3 arrives. But P3 requires how many milliseconds? 9. And P2 requires how many? Remaining 4 minus 1 is 3. So P2 will be completed. Okay, the P3 won't be scheduled because P2 requires less number of milliseconds compared to P3. At time t equal to 5, how you got 5? 1 plus 4 is 5. Okay. So at time t equal to 5, we have to again compare the burst time for the remaining process. So how many processes are remaining? P4, P1 and P3. So P4 requires how many milliseconds? 5. P1 remaining 7 and P3 requires 9. So which is the shortest job? P4. So P4 is scheduled. So 5 plus 5 is 10. So at time t equal to 10, again you have to compare remaining processes. How many are remaining now? P1 and P3. So P1 requires 7 milliseconds and P3 requires 9 milliseconds. So P1 is scheduled. So 10 plus 7 is 17. At 7 the remaining process will be scheduled, that is P3, that is 9. How many milliseconds? 9. 17 plus 9 becomes 26. Now we have to calculate the average waiting time. To calculate the average waiting time, we should know the waiting time for each process P1, P2, P3, P4. So waiting time of P1 is how much? P1 is arrived at time t equal to 0. But at time t equal to 1, P2 arrived and P1 has to wait. P1 has to wait till what? Time t equal to 10. Okay. So 0 plus 10 minus 1 equal to 9 milliseconds is the waiting time for P1. Now waiting time for P2 is how much? P2 is arrived at 1 milliseconds and it is scheduled at time t equal to 1 millisecond. So the waiting time for P2 will be 0 milliseconds. Waiting time for P3 is how much? P3 is arrived at time t equal to 2 milliseconds, but it is scheduled at time t equal to 17. So 17 minus 2 becomes 15 milliseconds. Waiting time for P4 arrived at 3 milliseconds, scheduled at 5 milliseconds. So 5 minus 3 equal to 2. Now since you got all the waiting times for all the process, we have to add these to get the average waiting time. So 9 plus 0 plus 15 plus 2 divided by 4. So what you will get, 26 divided by 4 equal to 6.5 milliseconds. Next we will see priority scheduling. Okay. In this we will see both preemptive and non-preemptive type. So here the process with highest priority is executed first, and if the if more than one process has the same priority, then we are going to use the first come first serve algorithm. Okay. So what is the disadvantage here? The problem of starvation may occur. What is the problem of starvation? If one of the process, suppose for example P4 has the lowest priority than the process is coming in, then P4 will never get executed. Okay, so that is P4 will starve. What is the solution for this? The solution is called as aging. It increases the priority of the process. That we'll see later. Okay, so now we'll solve the example for non-preemptive time. Okay, so what we have to calculate again, calculate average waiting time for the given scenario. So what is the assumption? Again, assumption is all the processes arrives at time t equal to 0. So there are 4 processes given again, P1, P2, P3, P4 with their burst time and priorities. Okay. Now we have to first step, what we have to do, draw the Gantt chart. Which process has the highest priority? This 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So P2 has the highest priority. So P2 will start first at time t equal to 0. For how long it will run? Till time t equal to 3 milliseconds or time units, whatever is given in the problem. Okay. Then after P2, we have to compare P1, P3 and P4. Which has the highest priority? P1 has the highest priority. So P1 will run from 3 plus 21, that is 24 milliseconds. So at 24 milliseconds, how many are remaining? P3 and P4. Who has the highest priority? P4. So P4 will run from 24 plus 2, that is equal to 26. At 26, the remaining process, that is P3, will run. So 26 plus 6 is equal to 32. Okay. Now again we have to calculate the average waiting time. To calculate the average waiting time, again you have to calculate the waiting time for each process. So P2 is waiting for how long? P2 is not waiting. So P2 equal to 0 milliseconds waiting time for P2. Waiting time for P1 is 3. Waiting time for P4 is 24. Waiting time for P3 is 26. So the average waiting time will be 0 plus 3 plus 24 plus 26 divided by 4. That is equal to 13.25 milliseconds.